Okay, well, this is the Kitsap Sun's Editorial Board. We're talking with Laura Boad, who's a school board member for North Mason School District, running for re-election in District 3. So thanks for coming. What we want to do is just kind of get to know you a little bit, and if you would take a minute to just tell us maybe a little bit about who you are and your background, and then why you've decided to run again.
Okay. Well, I've lived in Belfair for 62 years. I grew up there actually since the age of 5, and now that you know my age, do the math, I've been on the school board for 8 years and have enjoyed every minute of it. I came on the board during a rather contentious time, and we have actually restored the relationship between the staff and the school board, and it's gone quite well. We've also encouraged community involvement, and that's the result is our new high school. I worked for the school district for 20 years as the assistant to the superintendent, and also provided school board support and served as the public information officer and human resource coordinator there. I'm a 1966 graduate of North Mason High School, and I have a certification in human resources from Western Washington University. My community service, I was co-founder of the North Mason Little League, which was really, really fun. I'm on the board of directors for the North Mason Scholarship Foundation, charter member of the Rotary. I'm the treasurer for the Citizens for North Mason Schools Levy and Bond Committees, and have been forever. I'd like to find somebody to take my role there. And that's pretty much it. I have 6 children, a wonderful husband, and 14 grandchildren, and education is our priority in our family.
So after 8 years, you want to keep doing this. Why?
I do.
Why is that? What do you think you bring to the board?
I believe that we've made much progress in the last 8 years. We've really turned around the climate in the district, and we've done some real good things, and we've hired a wonderful superintendent, 2 wonderful superintendents actually, and I think that I would like to keep the momentum going. And usually when there's a transition in leadership, momentum does stop. So I feel like doing what we have done will kind of catapult us into the next level. We have 2 schools that have won academic achievement awards, the high school and Sand Hill Elementary. We have work to do with the other 2 schools, and I want to be part of that.
What do you think it is about this board? And obviously you mentioned the big success that your district had in building a new high school and a lot of the good feelings around that. What do you think that the board actively did? What do you think that, what is it that you want to keep going when you say keep the momentum?
The board adopted policy governance, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's where the board acts at the policy level, sets the policies, the expectations for the superintendent, and then steps out of the way to allow that person to get the job done. There's monitoring and accountability all throughout the year, and that's what we base our superintendent's evaluation on. Not interfering at the management level, at the operations level, gives everyone in the district the opportunity to work without feeling intimidated. So I believe that that is the biggest thing that we've done that has moved us to the next level.
One of the things, you know, you have the new building, but they're building sewers, there's a highway project that continues to be talked about in Belfair. How well do you think the board has done of preparing North Mason School District for growth that's to come? And what do you, when you look out a couple of years, what do you see in your schools?
Room. I see room for more people, more kids. The sewer project was quite an interesting thing. I'm sure you all are aware of that. But there's some wonderful things that have happened that have encouraged people to move into our area with their children. The high school being the most visible thing that has been done. But you know, I guess I just feel like our community is on a springboard now, and it's just going to jump ahead. And I think the board has anticipated that and has made enough changes that it's going to be a welcoming place for people.
Other than the physical improvements, what would you like to see the board make priorities as far as whether it's, you know, academic added things to bring in, activities that you would like to kind of push for or allocate money for? What do you put at the priority list there? What do you think will help the district the most, help those kids? What do those kids need in your district?
I believe our kids need to be measured at the beginning of the year for where they are at academically, and then again formatively throughout the year, and at the end, what kind of growth did they make? And whatever the tools are that those teachers in the classrooms need to make sure that that happens, then that's going to be a priority for me. It's academic achievement first. And as far as new activities and other kinds of entertaining things for our school and our children, I think we have an awful lot in place right now. And I would just step back a little bit and let everything settle down, let the dust settle, to see where we can go from here.
Yours was one of the districts in the state that I was kind of at the forefront of teacher evaluations, testing different ways to do that, and you had teachers who seemed to agree with that program, at least that's what I heard initially. How do you feel that went? What would you like to continue doing as far as how you evaluate teachers in North Mason?
I think it went very well, and I think the majority of our teaching staff supports the new evaluation method.
I should ask you, can you explain that just a little bit to everyone?
The teacher evaluation?
Yeah, what you guys are doing down there.
The teacher evaluation, and it's also principal evaluation, is a method of evaluating teachers that actually gives them feedback throughout the year about where they can improve their instruction and where they can maybe add to or take away from. And they're coached by other teachers. It's a wonderful program, and I haven't been as involved in it because that is really was the superintendent's purview. But I do know that it works, and our teachers have improved, and they like it. They like the evaluation method based on their classroom activity, their student progress. And at some point, you know, the WEA decided that teachers should not be evaluated on student progress. However, our teachers want to be. They want to know that their students are moving forward on a continuum and achieving.
So what do they like about it? Right, since it sounds like
They like the
unusual.
feedback. They like the
Oh,
feedback.
the
And there's
feedback
more
that they
than
get.
one half-hour observation at the beginning of the year and one at the end of the year.
I
There's
see.
now continuing observation and feedback throughout the year. That's what they like.
Okay.
Has any teacher been let go because of the,
No.
no?
Mm-mm. The whole purpose is to support teachers in learning how to be better teachers. So if the feedback says, if you do this, you might find that you have more success in that area. It isn't just, well, you didn't do that, so here's your pink slip. You see what I'm saying?
The Feller Center is a resource down in your community that's kind of a little up in the air on what's going to happen with the family trust and who's going to take ownership of that building and how much it's going to cost. It is something that the school district has used to take kids down there. Do you think the district should be involved in the Feller Center at all? Should you consider trying to take a stake that's greater so it supports that? What do you think you'd like to see?
I see it as two issues. There is a community center that when Sam Feller left us the property, part of the stipulation of his will was that we would build a recreation center or a gymnasium and play fields, and it would be in memory of his wife, Mary Feller. So in looking into that, our superintendent at the time, who was Dr. Marie Pickle, found that because of the wetlands situation down there, you can't build play fields on top of wetlands. You can't build a recreation center or a gymnasium there. But we could move an old school building there and remodel it with trust funds, not with school district funds. And that was named the Mary E. Feller Community Center and had been supported for years until just recently by the trust. However, the trust is bankrupt. They have just recently, I think, sold their last property, and they will divide whatever is left of the trust between the district and the Boys Scouts and the Girl Scouts. So that's one issue, is the community center, not used for any educational purpose by the school district. The other issue is the Feller Wetland Trail System. And we have a classroom down there that is our classroom, and that's where our science program meets for aquatic world and a variety of other things. And we do maintain that and support that. As far as what our role is at this point, because there is no more trust money supporting the community center, we have paid staff to be there to keep the center open. And once the trust has been dissolved, we will get probably an equal payback that will take care of those expenses that we have already incurred. However, where it goes from that point, the school district really can't support a community center. That's not what we're in the business of doing. So we need to have some community forums and get some information from our community. How do you all want to do this? So that's kind of where we're at with the Feller Center. It's been a bit of a contentious issue lately, but I think we can get through this if we have just civil conversations and problem-solving discourse. I think we'll get to the end of it, and I believe that probably the community may step up and want to run a bond to support it. We can't do that, but they could. So that's where we're at with the Feller Center. I wish I could give you a cut and dry answer, but it's just not there.
Yeah, no, that was an answer. I was kind of just curious from a school's perspective. I know it's an important place for you guys with your classrooms and the use you have there. So, but you have a good point that you need to go and ask people what they think and whether they'll pay for it or whatever you need to do. How do you, as a board member, get out and hear people's opinions? How do you know what feedback you're getting? How do you listen?
Well, I'm involved in a number of organizations, and I also have a network of friends and people, and I'm going to tell you, it's QFC and Safeway. That's where they approach me and talk with me. We also go to the open houses at the schools. We don't get a lot of people approaching us at the open houses because they're there for the open house, not necessarily to talk to a school board member. So we wear our pins, and we, move about the crowd and ask, how do you feel about the school district? How's it going? And they're usually off to go see their child's teacher. So we're going to plan some public forums this year for just that purpose, to just have a discourse, just a dialogue with people and ask questions. We can't always answer their questions at that moment, just because we don't have the information possibly to answer them, but we can take in the information and then get back to them. But I don't know how that's going to work, and I don't know how many people will come. We have 4 people that come to our school board meetings regularly. So that tells me everybody's pretty happy, and I guess if they're not happy, then they'll come to the school board meeting too. Who knows?
What about teachers and schools? How do you get a perception of what's going on in there, whether things are working, whether people are happy?
Well, I know so many of them personally that I can just ask them, how's it going? How's school started? Is it good? Is it bad? How do you feel? Is everything okay? I don't see them on a regular basis, but I do see them from time to time. I don't go through the buildings. I am not visible in the buildings during the school day. It's usually at events after school in the evenings.
How do you feel about standardized testing, and just because this is an issue on too much, not enough, what do you use it for? How do you feel it works down in North Mason? What would you like to see? What do you think are the drawbacks maybe?
Well, we did the Smarter Balance test this year, and it took a lot of time, and there were glitches with the technology, so it took even more time. I think standardized testing is a good thing because it can measure students on a standardized test across the state. It's also accompanied with a standardized curriculum and with benchmarks that students should be reaching at each grade level. And that eliminates the problem of a student learning a fourth grade curriculum specifically, and then sixth grade teaches it all over again. So in that sense, it's a very good thing. The testing part, it's almost political now. It's advertised, all of the test scores are advertised, so one school district is compared to another, and there are many variables in different communities. So that's not to say that every student isn't able to learn because of their home situation, but sometimes it does affect that. And it has a heavy weight attached to it. So when standardized testing, when the testing week window is there, there's anxiety. Students are concerned, their teachers are concerned, they get that. There are teachers that are teaching to the test, which means there's some creativity lost in the classroom as well. So I'm on the fence, if that answers your question. I think testing is important. I think there is also classroom observation that gives you a picture of how a student is learning and how they can communicate with other students and work cooperatively. But there's also, did they learn to the benchmarks what they should have learned at this point in their educational life? So it is important. I hate for it to feel like a hammer, and sometimes I think it does feel that way.
How do you get along? I mean, how does it work with the board? It sounds like you think, it's pretty cooperative and collaborative with the other board members. Is that?
Yes, it is. We're very, I guess we're very gracious to one another. We do have independent thinking. I mean, we also have our own opinions, and we do a nice job of deliberating, I think, during our board meetings when there is differences of opinion. So we're a good group. I think we have 2 new board members, Dinah Griffey and Leanna Kratzer, who joined us in the last year. And I think we are professional in our board meetings. We obviously don't meet outside of the board meeting. We can't do that anyway, but we're good friends. I appreciate them. I appreciate their ideas and their conversations. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Well, thanks. That was the questions we want to ask, I suppose.
That's it?
I guess so. Anything that we didn't...
I was ready
I
for
know.
so much more.
What didn't we ask you that we should have asked?
Oh, what didn't you ask? I don't know. I don't know what it would have been.
Is there anything else that's important to you that you think is coming up that you really have an eye on, that you're looking forward to in the next couple of years?
I'm looking forward to those other 2 schools moving ahead. And I believe that they're poised to do that at this point. Our new superintendent has only been on board for 1 year, and she's had to deal with public records requests that have really gotten in the way of, we had to hire another person to handle them. So they're not public records requests from, and it's all around the Feller Center. So that meant digging way, way back and trying to find those records, and some of them are not even around anymore. So that's been a
What was the issue about that? If the school board can't really, you can't really, it's not your job to.
Well, the school board doesn't answer those public records requests. That's the superintendent's job. So being a brand new superintendent and trying to get her feet on the ground, and then it did help her in some ways because she really got to know the history behind Feller Center. So that was good. Yeah. As far as me and what's going to happen in the next couple of years, I just want to see everybody moving on and just getting the job done. And I think it's going to happen. And I think we're going to really excel. We're going to put that little school district on the map again.
What about, here, talk about some of your real specialized environmental stuff that you get to do down in the classroom down there. One question we've asked of some other districts is, when you see families leave because their kid doesn't fit in or have the program that their kid would fit in, and so you have to look at, well, what do we do? What do we offer? Should we start, different kindergarten classes, Spanish immersion, whatever else is like that? what are some things that maybe you say, we should check this out, we should look into this one? What do you think would help the district and maybe meet those sorts of needs? What do you hear?
Well, we do exit interviews with families who move on or transfer their students to other districts. And for the most part, it's because the bigger districts can offer more than we can. Now we're trying to get it in there. I would love to see Spanish immersion at the elementary levels, and we do have that to a certain degree. We have now a class that is Spanish and English, so the English-speaking students are learning Spanish, the Spanish-speaking students are learning English, so they're learning together. And I believe that's at the elementary level. At the high school level, I think it's just the accelerated classes that have been the reason why students want to go to a bigger class or school district. We will continue to try and offer those classes, however. And I believe that we can cooperate with Olympic College and maybe do some college level courses there. Our students go to Running Start. We have a number of students that go to Running Start.
Do you have a lot of students that take online classes?
Well, our alternative program is an online program.
That's your entire total.
Yeah, and I think last year we had close to 100 students in there. I'm not exactly sure what the enrollment is this year, but we do serve quite a few students in an alternative setting.
Has that grown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great program, and we had one student last year who won a scholarship and 2 scholarships. So everybody doesn't learn the same way, and everybody doesn't fit into a traditional high school. So it's nice to be able to have that to offer, so those students don't leave and go someplace else.
And have those students had success once they move into that program? Do you have any idea what the rate is? I mean, do they stick with it, or?
Mm-hmm. They learn at their own pace,
mm-hmm.
And yes, they do stick with it. And I can't think of the number of graduates we had last year from the PACE Academy, but they get there, and they take control of their own learning. They take charge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody should. I'd like to see that in every classroom, just not necessarily online learning, but there could be a combination of those. That would be exciting, and then those kids could basically move themselves along the continuum.
What do you think about charter schools?
I don't know how successful they are. I haven't followed that. I think that parents need to have a say. They need to be able to have something to say about their own child's education. If they don't agree what's going on in public schools and they can't afford a private school, they can start a charter school, but where's the accountability for the charter schools? See, our accountability is at the state level. The accountability in a private school, I don't know if they take the state tests. Do you know in the private schools?
I believe they do it.
I think they must have to do something because you have the same requirement.
Yeah,
Right.
A graduation.
Right.
So they have to have something.
And a charter school is really no different than a homeschool in that respect. So if you have X number of kids and they're all learning the same thing from a curriculum that is a certified curriculum, it should work. But I know what it takes to run a public school. I've been there long enough. I can't imagine doing it on your own without any help, because they don't get it. I don't believe charter schools get any help in terms of here's what we want your kids to learn, because they want to choose that. Does that answer your question? So what do I think about charter schools? I wouldn't want to try and start one.
Well, thanks, Laura.
You're welcome.
I think we appreciate the time.
Thank you.